Start streaming. Jordan likes the food.
Bam, 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 bam. Which I just realized is probably trademarked. Actually, I think it's owned by Fox. That song. The hockey hype song.
Isn't that just the organ song? Dun 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 dun.
No, that's a baseball hype song. Let's be real. Baseball was doing it first.
Really?
That I know of. I actually don't know for sure, but I'm going to assume, since I think baseball is the older game. Burger King.
Alright, going out. 8 o'clock on the dot.
Alright!
Okay,
That's
yep,
what
we're
we're talking
done.
about.
Alright, it's up. We're good to go.
On time.
Alright, so let's start this thing then. Well, let's
Okay.
start Audacity.
Being audacious, and I'll take the pad of tabletness.
There you go.
Alrighty.
Hello!
Hello! I'm gonna break our levels right away, right at the top here. Sorry, this is the Media Boat Podcast, not a Fox Sports presentation of hockey. Media Boat Podcast is where you come to for news about movies, television shows, sports sometimes. Let's just add that in there.
We got sports in there.
Video games and music, not necessarily in that order.
We have those in there.
This is February. Yes, we've made it to February, folks. February the 7th,
Yes.
2018. This is episode 109. I actually know this time. 109. This is our post-Super Bowl pre-Olympics show. So we'll have plenty to talk about, I'm sure.
Yep. As you can tell, my voice is better.
Yes, your voice is better. You can speak.
Yes.
But the real question here, and how we're going to open these segments just as an experiment this week. Have you been seeing any movies?
Oh, we have a lot of thoughts on everything.
Okay. That's good to know. This is the time of year where things slow down a little so we can play some catch-up, and it looks like you've been doing some catch-up. First of all, I want to say I've watched nothing. So I didn't see any movies. I'm kind of
So we don't want to get into box office then?
No, I want to start with this now, like I said, as an experiment.
All right.
But yeah, I haven't been seeing anything. I don't have any major movies to talk about. I'm kind
Major movies.
I'm kind of storing up my movie juices. I know that's disgusting. For Black Panther.
Yes.
So I will be seeing that one.
But that is next week, though.
That's next week. But yeah, I didn't see any movies. So yeah, what did you see?
So I saw a couple movies.
Okay.
First off, I saw Den of Thieves because my dad kept recommending to it for the past 2 weeks.
Okay, so what's up with Den of Thieves?
Den of Thieves is a heist movie that is super heisty and belongs in the 90s.
Wow. Okay. So just the way it's shot or the way it feels?
The way it's shot, the way it feels, and just the overall aesthetics of the film feels like it should be a 90s film.
Okay.
Because it's a basic cops and robbers film. Bad guys trying to rob a place, and the cops are trying to do their best to stop them.
Or are you saying you could do a double feature of this and Heat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
They very much like coexist kind of together.
Okay.
The ending just ends up being a shoot 'em up, which I was kind of disappointed in.
Okay.
But I did really enjoy O'Shea Jackson Jr. in this thing.
Hey, yeah, he's
Ice-T's kid
deals,
is
man.
doing some work. He can act. He's actually really good in this thing. He can hold his own with Gerard Butler and 50 Cent Jackson. If that's
Curtis,
much, yes.
50 Cent Jackson.
I give him the courtesy.
Okay. The courtesy. I see what you did there.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely. If you like heist movies, definitely check it out. Otherwise, not for you.
I like a good heist movie.
You may enjoy it. It may run a little long in the middle, but at the ending like payoff big heist is worth it.
Okay.
But O'Shea Jackson Jr. is definitely the highlight of this film.
I just want to say that is a bad name for that movie.
Oh, it is.
Den of Thieves, when I hear that, you know what I think? I hear super dramatic, probably has Denzel Washington in it. I think of like a super drama. I don't think fun heist movie.
Super drama.
Yes. So, I don't know. Like, that's because that was like, I don't know what this is. This sounds like something I didn't want to see.
Well, that's not the thing. I didn't want to see it either,
Yeah.
but my dad kept saying, you should go see it.
No?
He gives it, my dad gives it an 8 on his dad's scale.
Oh, your dad has a dad scale?
Yes.
This is news to me.
You know my dad's scale.
Yeah, I didn't know your dad's scale.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, so he gives it an 8. He's telling me to go see it, so finally I
Was
had
it
a
out
chance
of
to go
10?
see it. Yeah.
Is it scale? Okay.
Yeah. So finally I had a chance to go see it, and I enjoyed it. It was an enjoyable film. Definitely not for everybody. Like I said, it's definitely a 90s aesthetic film. Definitely like super like bad cops, or not bad cops, but bad guys.
Bad boys.
Bad boys. Yeah.
What are they going to do?
They're gonna rob the place.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
I should probably tell my dad about this. He likes a heist movie. He was just telling me him and my stepmom were going to go through all of the Ocean's remakes.
Yeah.
Starting with not the original, but
yeah,
Ocean's 11, the first George Clooney modern Ocean's 11.
2001?
Although that's ancient now too, huh?
It's 2001, I think. I mean, we have Ocean's 8 coming out.
He said he had watched that and he enjoyed it. So
Yeah.
I should tell him that this was pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, so this sounds like it sounds like you're straddling the line between to stream it and see it.
Stream it if you've got nothing else going on. You won't be like super disappointed with it.
Sure.
But you don't need to go to a restaurant and see it.
Okay, so solid stream it.
Yeah.
What else did you see? You've got a couple of killers here.
Yeah. So I also saw The Shape of Water.
You mean Oscar nominated The Shape of Water?
Yes. And I've been struggling to write my review on this thing.
Okay.
Because I didn't really like it.
You didn't like it.
It's not that I didn't like
Wow.
it. It's that I still think Three Billboards is better.
Yeah, but
It's better acted, better
pretend
directed.
you didn't see Three Billboards, and also let's pretend this isn't award season.
Yeah.
What's up with this movie?
This movie is pretty much straightforward as it comes.
So is exactly what I think it is? I'm going to tell you what I think it is, and you're going to tell me if I'm right.
Okay.
So there's this experiment happening with this sea creature dude.
Yes.
And there's a woman who is involved in the experimentation somehow.
She's the cleaner.
Okay, she's the cleaner.
Yeah, that's given away in the trailers.
I knew she was somehow involved.
Yes.
I wasn't exactly sure what she was.
Yeah, she works in the government facility.
And from what I gather,
Yes.
she gets closer to the creature and befriends the creature. And I'm using befriends in italics here because they get real close.
Yeah.
Is that it? Is that
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically it. And then they help the fish escape.
So it's a love story
Yeah.
more than anything else.
More than anything else, it's a love story, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting because that movie doesn't make it super clear if there's something else going on or not. And okay,
No.
All right. There's no bigger conspiracy or dramatic plot.
There's a Russia commie McCarthyism thing.
Okay.
On the subplot of it,
Yeah.
but overall, it's just a subplot.
Okay.
It doesn't really push the narrative forward that much.
Super important.
It's not super important.
It's a B story, whereas the A story is the love story.
Yes.
That's interesting. So you didn't get the super posy stuff that people are talking about?
Compared to other Best Picture winners,
yeah,
this falls flat for me in that category.
Right. Okay. What about visually? Because that's its thing, right? Is it supposed Guillermo del Toro is a very visual director.
It's green everywhere.
Green.
Yes. Lots of green and lots of water,
Okay.
which I'm thinking
that's kind of what you're getting.
Oh,
That's what the ticket says.
Oh no, there's like tanks and tanks of water in this thing.
I would really hope that I see water in all sorts of different shapes in this movie.
In the shape of water.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, okay. Wow. Okay. So, would you say people should go and see this?
You should see it for yourself. Make your own opinion on it. Just for me, I didn't feel the love of all the critics for it.
Controversial.
I know.
That's what we're here for, though. Me and Boat Podcast. We're always on the edge of controversy.
Like, I saw it. I'm glad I saw it.
Okay.
But I wouldn't necessarily go out and say, you gotta go see this movie like I did with 3 Billboards.
Yeah, okay.
Where I came back and said, the acting of this thing is superb. Go see it.
All right. Okay, cool. How about the third movie that you saw?
Yes.
Which is a little different, and we're going to probably end up talking a little bit about the story around it later.
Yeah.
But you saw another movie
here
from the comfort of your own couch.
Yes, I don't know if I want to put this up here or back because it's Netflix.
It's a movie.
Well, because I've seen it listed under the movie, so that's
yeah.
it. So
it's a movie. Let's talk about it.
Okay, so talking about Cloverfield Paradox, and we're actually going to talk about more about this thing later.
The story around this we'll talk about in TV.
Yes.
It has to do with the Super Bowl, so we'll save that.
Actually, I have it right there.
Okay. Okay, I guess we'll talk about it sooner than that. All right. So, so you saw Cloverfield Paradox.
No colon. Just
no colon.
It says it's the Cloverfield Paradox.
All right. So what's up with the third Cloverfield movie?
So this one is set in space and delves into alternate timelines.
Okay.
And it's about an experiment in space in order to save the energy crisis that Earth is admitting. And they have to go into space in order to,
so the
God particles
Earth
together.
is running out of stuff, and so they go to space to gather
Earth
stuff.
Earth is running out of fuel and energy, so they go into space in order to make new energy.
Find new energy sources in space.
It's a space station, so they're trying to create, accelerated particles by stacking them together or something.
As you do.
Yes, and in the process, you create a rift in time and space, as you do, because you shouldn't be messing with these super particles and.
It turns out to be a bad idea.
Stop playing God, basically.
Yeah.
So it ends up going into a alternate dimension, and it's it's not just one dimension, but it's 7 dimensions or 10 dimensions. They don't put a number on it, just infinite dimensions all colliding it together and creating this paradox of just overlapping one another. And that's why we got the monster from the first movie, because he's from another dimension with his monsters.
Okay.
And the thing from the second movie too, 10 Cloverfield Lane, because it's crossing universes. And then this attempts to explain, because this happened, everything happens. But then you also get into this weird, but for me it gets to the weird place of, well then, does it mean that anything could be anything?
Yeah.
Cross over into anything?
Mm-hmm. That's the problem when you go do something like that. Kind of like the end of Bioshock Infinite.
Yeah.
It's okay, well you're just setting up this world where literally anything is possible. Now who knows what you can do? What does any of this mean anymore?
Right.
Yeah. Did you like it?
I enjoyed it up until the end.
Okay.
Where revealed everything, and I was it's such a cop out. Kind of they ran themselves into a corner, which I could see because they literally wrote themselves into a corner.
Yeah.
Into this thing.
It happens.
Which is super disappointing.
That's so for our scale, we can't use it here because you cannot go see it. You have to stream it.
Yes, you have to stream it. It's definitely a popcorn flick. Okay. Grab yourself a bowl of popcorn and watch this thing late at night. It's not disappointing in the sense that...
Now, did you like the first 2 Cloverfields?
Technically, I never saw the first... I never saw neither in theater. I didn't see either of them in theater.
The only things I know about Cloverfield, and I was talking to my coworkers about this yesterday because they were talking about this thing, and they were talking about how they watched the original Cloverfield because they hadn't seen it before. And I was like, okay, the only thing I know about Cloverfield 1 is that there's it's shot like Handycam. Mm-hmm. It's all supposed to be found footage-esque.
Yes.
You don't see the monster until the very, very end, and it's very brief.
Yes.
The movie is like a monster movie, but it's about the people.
Yes.
Then the only thing I know about the second one, 10 Cloverfield Lane, is that Mary Elizabeth Winstead is in it.
Okay.
And that is my knowledge about Cloverfield. So yeah. So I haven't seen either of them, as you may have guessed. But yeah. So yeah, it sounds like a solid stream it. Then
it's a
put
solid
that
stream
on if you're curious, if you've seen the first two, because it's almost the way you explained its kind of revelations in it. Is it seems like it's a good companion piece to those movies.
Yeah, also you don't need to see the first two in order to see this
like,
thing.
yeah.
It's very much its own thing, and then at the end they say, hey, why don't we just put this thing in the
That's kind of my feeling about all of them. That's what I heard about the second one.
That's what I heard about the second one, too.
When
yes.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead was doing press stuff about it, she would always be like saying, like, oh yeah, you don't even need to necessarily see the first one.
Oh, yeah.
There's some Easter eggs, but you don't really need to know. Like, it's basically, the idea is that they can be enjoyed by themselves.
Yeah, that's basically the same.
That's a neat idea. There aren't enough anthology series in modern pop culture. I mean, not on TV, at least. It's all over TV now.
Yeah.
But for movies, nobody does that anymore. So that's kind of a cool idea.
So, stream it if it's there to stream.
It's on Netflix now.
Yeah.
All right. Did you see anything else? Want to talk about any other movies?
Let's see. No. Oh, I saw Mr. and Mrs. Smith recently.
Yeah, recently, as in within the last 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes. You hadn't seen that before?
No, I have. It's been like a super long time since I've seen it, and it holds up.
All right.
It holds up.
Yeah, I made a comment where it was like, I thought this was something more recent because of the way it's shot. It's actually kind of well directed.
Yeah.
It looked like.
I saw another movie, but because it is Netflix only, I'm gonna save it for that.
Save it for later.
Save it for TV.
Okay, that works. Let's roll right into the next segment of movies, which of course is the weekend box office.
Oh yeah, we got to do box office.
Weekend box office this week. We have a return.
Welcome back, Jumanji to the top.
Yeah, good thing we didn't do a prediction last week because we would have gotten it wrong for the second week in a row.
Yep.
The debut movie Winchester didn't even make the number 2 slot this week.
Nope, opened at 3.
But yes, The Rock reemerges with Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle at number 1 again with $10.9 million. So yeah, it's made like
it's $855 million worldwide.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I was talking to my coworkers about that today. It's like this is such a weird time of the box office that Jumanji has now been your number 1 movie more than Star Wars was.
Yes.
More than Wonder Woman was.
Yep.
More than most of the big movies last year. Somehow it's already had 4 number 1 weekends.
Yeah.
Is that just because nothing's out?
It's just because nothing's out. Nothing can go against it. Nothing's going against it.
So dead.
What's going against it?
Well, turns out. Thanks for asking. Number 2 was last week's number 1, moving back down. Maze Runner: The Death Cure, with another $10 million.
Yeah, third in the trilogy that no one cares about.
No one cares about. Winchester, as I mentioned, is your number 3 movie, your Lionsgate horror movie of the week. With $9 million.
Which no one cares about.
Yeah, apparently. Greatest Showman, number 4, with $7.6 million.
I mean, that's basically all the other competitions. No one hanging around.
And rounding out the top 5 is The Post with another $5.2 million.
Yeah.
The Post is doing all right for a movie of its stature. But the real question mark here is, and something I want to get your opinion on, I had this thought while doing the box office post yesterday, is the time over for horror movies, like, shocking us by debuting at number 1? Because the last 2 have failed to do so. It was, no, the last 3.
3.
Because it was this one.
Insidious.
Insidious, there was something in between Insidious and this. Last week, I want to say, or 2 weeks ago. And it didn't make number 1 either. So we keep seeing this happen, and I don't know if this is going to be a new trend for 2018. Is that our old faithful suggestion that horror movies make a bunch of money is maybe not true anymore? I don't know.
No, I think it's that we've had an overload of horror movies to where
maybe
they just cannibalize each other.
They're too
which
common.
is why Jumanji's just banking, because there's nothing to go against it.
Yeah, and it seems like a crowd pleaser. It's kind of something for everyone kind of movie.
Yeah.
So yeah. Moving on to the new releases for this upcoming weekend.
Yep. Get your tissues ready.
Because...
And get your torture dungeons ready.
Yeah, your leather handcuffs. Because 50 Shades Freed is probably your big release of the week.
Third. Pun intended.
Yeah. Big release. I didn't realize that. I said that. That's your big release. That's your third. That's the third movie in the 50 Shades franchise.
This will also be the last movie. Funny enough, they shot the last two back to back. So this thing's been in the can for over 2 years now.
So yeah, if you're ready for some early Valentine's entertainment, take your date over there to not see 50 Shades Free and go see Peter Rabbit, the CG Home Alone-ish
James Corden voice,
terrorizing of your childhood thing that this thing is going to be.
Yeah.
I have no idea who this is for.
Kids.
Is it? I don't want my kids seeing that. If I had kids, which I don't. Also this week, the 1517 to Paris, which is the Clint Eastwood.
Real life soldiers playing actors playing themselves.
Like he got actual Marines.
No, he got the actual Marines.
The actual Marines to be themselves in this movie.
Yes.
That's the whole shtick.
Yep.
From what I understand. So I will not be seeing that. So that's this weekend's releases. Let's do our predictions. 50 Shades?
Yeah, it's gotta be.
It's gotta be, right? With Peter Rabbit's solid number 2.
It's gotta be 50 Shades.
Peter Rabbit's gonna do okay.
45 million?
45? Really? That's high.
I know, but
10.
It's not.
Was your number 1.
Yeah, I know, but this is 50 Shades.
I know.
And
45?
I know I looked at numbers before on this
is a pre-Valentine's weekend, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
So I don't know
how
that will affect things.
Valentine's is next Wednesday. Yeah. Oh, by the way, we won't be able to do a live show next Wednesday.
Yeah, that's fine. We can even do a Tuesday if you want.
Oh, yeah, we'll do Tuesday.
But yeah, that's probably your... I bet we could probably put our money on that.
You know, so 45?
Yeah, that works. So yeah, I don't even think we'll see Jumanji in this. Maybe we'll see it at like a number 4 or 5 spot. Yeah. I really think that these are strong enough releases where it's going to eclipse it finally.
Well, let's see. What did Greatest Showman do? 7?
Yeah. So yeah, these numbers are so low. All of these other movies are going to be pushed out of this list. All right, moving on to movie news, where we talk about the hottest movie news.
Finally, let's move on.
In movies, we're finally moving on. Our first story, of course, is about Star Wars, because always Star Wars. That's just the world we live in now. We're constantly talking about a Star Wars movie. And this time, it's Solo.
Huh.
My favorite... Oh, you ruined my joke. I was going to say my favorite Star Wars movie about a red plastic cup. But yes.
Yes.
Han Solo, a Star Wars story. The first trailer premiered during the Super Bowl, which I didn't get to see because the stream we were watching...
You were watching it on the stream?
Shane's too cheap to have cable, so we were watching it on the CBS All Access app.
But it's on NBC.
Sorry, not CBS. NBC's app. We were watching the NBC app, so we are pretty sure that we missed some of the commercials.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you did.
Including the trailer for Solo, so I have not seen this. But it premiered during the Super Bowl for most people, and the full trailer
was online the following day, following Good Morning America big reveal.
Yeah, so what'd you think?
Look good. Aaron Allwright looks good as Han Solo. Don Glover looks good as Lando Calrissian.
Are you digging these rumors I've been hearing about how the dude who's playing young Han Solo is like terrible and can't act?
No, I've not heard these rumors.
I've heard it from a few different things this week. Like, apparently he was, like, handpicked by one of the producers and then can't actually, like, do what they need him to do.
All he has to do is just smolder.
Yeah, but you'd think.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's what I've heard. Okay, so maybe that's not as big of a thing as I thought it was. Also, not to be outdone, there's more Star Wars news.
Yes, the big actual Star Wars news.
The big reveal for the future of the series is that Game of Thrones creators David Benioff and D.B. Weiss are set to write and produce a new series of Star Wars films. Of course, this will be separate from the main, what you have termed the Skywalker saga, the main trilogies. And the recently announced trilogy that's being developed by Rian Johnson. Is this too much Star Wars?
I've actually saw that question today.
Yeah.
Is this too much Star Wars?
Yeah, it seems like a lot of Star Wars. Also,
because this is in addition to the regular solo spin-off stories that they're doing, the Star Wars stories.
Right. And also, to kind of dig up an old argument that I had posed, why aren't we getting some, like, female directors in this pool? Why aren't we talking to directors of color? Why is it white dudes still? Like, come on. Star Wars is about diversity. I mean, The Last Jedi proved that in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And we're still here with white dude directors. I don't know. They could do better.
Well, it depends on what these guys end up doing. Because this will be post Game of Thrones, obviously.
Right.
And if they... So, right now, it says that they're going to be developing films. But they could also just turn those into a series for the Disney streaming service.
Yeah, that's what I'm shocked about, too, is that this is not a conversation about TV. Because it's been so long since we've been hearing back and forth rumors about they're going to do a Star Wars series. They're not going to do a Star Wars series. Now they are again. Now so-and-so is involved. And it's never happened. Well, not never.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have, of course, the Clone Wars stuff. You have, even before that, you have the TV specials, including the Christmas special and the droids and the Ewoks. But I'm talking about modern Disney-owned Star Wars here. Where's the TV show? It should be easy. Why is it not easy?
So because they already killed everyone.
No, it doesn't have to be. I guess it would. But they could just make new characters then, if they don't want to. If they don't want to do the extended universe. Again, for the third time. I don't know. It just seems like this should be a conversation about TV.
It feels like it, but Star Wars crossed over to TV once before and didn't work out too well. So Kathleen Kennedy is very touchy on the subject, you could say.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
But you're right. This
I hope that by the end of this year
we have a big inundation of Star Wars coming.
Mm-hmm.
And this could be because Disney needs to get their money back from it.
Maybe. Well, I mean, they kind of already have.
Mm-hmm.
But I know what you mean. It's like they feel like there's an expectation now.
Yeah.
But moving on to something that they might want to consider in the future is Netflix release. As we were talking about the Cloverfield Paradox, one of the cool things about that movie is that it was not theatrically released and was advertised during the Super Bowl to premiere right after the game was over on Netflix first run. So, you're probably wondering, why? Well, we have the answer.
Because Netflix can do shit like that.
That is also true. But
that's the main answer.
Yeah, that's the main answer. So, yeah.
Netflix can just say, hey, we're going to put this thing on now, and you're going to go watch it.
The original plan for the Cloverfield Paradox was for a traditional theatrical release date of April 20th.
Yes.
With Paramount retaining the rights for China and home entertainment. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry.
That's what the current deal is.
I skipped a line. But instead of doing the traditional theatrical release, producer J.J. Abrams, of course, decided to go to Netflix and made a deal worth $50 million with Paramount retaining rights for China and home entertainment.
There you go.
To premiere the film directly on Netflix instead.
Yep.
And the nice thing about that is that they could do it right after the frickin' Super Bowl.
Because it's Netflix, and they could just say, hey, this thing's on now.
Yeah.
And they could do a commercial for it during the Super Bowl to say, hey, we have 50 million viewers watching this thing, 80 million, whatever, 100 million viewers, and we're just going to tell everyone that this thing's out now.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense when you think about it, and I want to say that it's a pretty interesting...
It's an interesting strategy.
Glimpse into the future of what we might be looking at with releases that are a little less... that the producers are a little less confident about getting a theatrical release. This is another direction they can take their movies, which is super interesting. In fact, we can already see the results of this in the next film that will have this happen to it. The international rights for the Natalie Portman film Annihilation.
Yes, this was an interesting deal out of it.
Yes, so Paramount will release this domestically at the end of the month, so this February 23rd.
Yes.
But internationally, it'll be Netflix?
Yes, it'll be Netflix distributed internationally.
Okay.
That's why Paramount went to Netflix for this deal, because they already had that deal in place. So it's just saying, hey, we already got this working for you. How would you like this?
Yeah.
This as well. And so, yeah.
It's a cool idea. I think ultimately we're going to have to watch a few movies do this to see how it shakes out financially and whether it actually is worth it. Because the worry there is that you're getting the deal from Netflix, but you're not getting a per-ticket equivalent for viewership.
Oh, no, you're not.
So it's a different kind of setup. Basically, for this to become the norm, the studios would have to budget for a Netflix release ahead of time. Instead of what sounds like this happened, where it was an 11th hour decision, where J.J. Abrams was like, you know what, fine.
Well, not only that, but they have a fourth Cloverfield movie called Overlord, which is a World War II zombie film coming out later this year as well.
Okay. So we'll see pretty soon here whether this is going to be viable for the long term.
Yes.
All right, cool. So jury's still out, but we'll check back on that. Next is a movie that will probably end up on streaming pretty soon here. Disney is planning to reboot cartoon spy secret agent high schooler Kim Possible.
Yes.
From the early 2000s show of the same name.
Because she can do anything.
So yeah, Kim Possible. You can call her, you can beep her anytime you need her. If you want to page her,
that's okay.
That's okay. I like how that would not work at all in 2018. Kids would have no idea what you're talking about. They would like know. Well, yes, I know you could call her, but what are those other things?
So it's gonna change to call me, text me, IM me.
Yeah.
DM
Not even
me.
IMs. IMs are dead too.
DM me.
Yeah, DM me. Slide into my DMs. Text me.
If you want to kick me, that's okay.
Find me on the Facebook. Like seriously.
Shoot me an Insta.
Beep me and page me mean nothing now.
Snap me.
Snap me. Catch me on the gram.
Snap at me.
Oh God. Anyways, so yes, Kim Possible, which I enjoyed back in the day.
Oh yeah,
it was a really well written show for what it was, and only now it has more in common with kind of modern approach that Disney is having with their cartoons than it did at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it aired concurrently with stuff like The Proud Family and like relatively safe stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas this was it was a fun show. It was a fun spy show for kids. The original series, as you have written down here, ran for 87 episodes and was Emmy nominated.
2 movies.
And 2 movies. Emmy nominated for 2003 for Outstanding Animated Program. The series creators, Mark McCorkle and Robert Scully, will be writing the script, which is great news because that's the reason why that thing worked, because they knew that they had to not only make that a kids show, but
you had to appeal to several
a larger audience.
Yeah,
which is why that show worked, and will executive produce. So yeah, that's great news.
Fortunately, Christy Romano will not be voicing.
She's probably aged out of the role.
Could be.
I think that this is an opportunity to get some newcomer.
Yeah.
Debut, because you'd need some really athletic 16-year-old for the part.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. Moving on.
Maybe not athletic for the psychic Ramen.
No.
Or Naked Mole Rat, which was going to be CG.
CG Naked Mole Rat.
Yes.
All right, that does it for the movies.
Yeah.
So let's roll into...
It's short. Yeah, we only had 3 stories because we had a lot of thoughts to talk about.
Yeah, with TV, let's start with what we've been watching. With, of course, we have to start with
the Super Bowl.
The thing that everybody watched, the Super Bowl.
Yep.
So I haven't actually gotten to talk to you about this game.
No, you haven't.
It was really entertaining.
I was entertained.
Yes, it was close throughout.
Yes.
It was not as defense heavy as I was worried it was going to be.
It wasn't as one-sided as most people thought it was going to be either.
There was 1 sack in the entire game, and it took until the fourth quarter for it to happen.
There's also 1 pick in the entire game, and that took until the fourth quarter for that to happen.
And both of those things mattered.
Yes.
Like, that's the crazy thing, is that sack, if that sack hadn't happened, this may have been a different game.
Right.
And the fact that they finally got the Eagles, of course, is what I'm talking about. They finally got to Brady and slowed the momentum that he was already looking like he was starting. Like, I remember, like, at the top of the fourth, it looked like he was ready to rally. He was moving them down the field.
Because in the third, he finally was able to hook up with Gronk twice for touchdowns.
So yeah, needless to say, the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl 41-33.
Yes, and then they promptly proceeded to burn down Philadelphia.
Yeah, but we knew that was going to happen. But yes, Tom Brady, touchdown. Tom himself lost the game.
I don't say that because if your defense gives up 41 points, your defense lost the game.
Yeah, the Patriots D was not.
Tom Brady was able to put up 33 points. Okay,
Tom Brady did good. In fact, there was that stat after the game where he apparently set a record for yardage.
Oh yeah.
Even when he lost, which just shows you Tom Brady. This is not going we kind of briefly talked last week about how what this would mean for the Brady dynasty.
Yeah.
Nothing turns out because he performed well enough. Where it didn't matter.
Because Brady did exactly what Brady needed to do. It was the defensive fault.
Right. It's the story ended up not being about Brady. It became about the Philadelphia defense. Really. Yes. And about Nick Foles, who ended up taking MVP.
Yes. Which is funny because last year, I think, Nick Foles was actually looking to retire.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now he can. Right? Because, this is where you go out. This is a Peyton Manning brand time to go.
No, actually, because he was signed on for 1 year. That means he is a free agent and can go sign anywhere and make buco bucks and then retire.
All right. Well, there you go.
Get that Brock Osweiler deal down in Texas.
Okay. Well, it's good to be Nick Foles then.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Yeah. Good job, Tyler.
Good job, Tyler. And the halftime show.
Yes.
Justin Timberlake was Justin Timberlake. He did multiple things, which is his whole deal. He's known as the guy with multi-talents. Let's show off the multi-talents.
He danced through the crowd.
He sang. He played piano.
Yes.
And that's it. And then the controversial choice to have a holographic Prince was replaced with a projection of Prince instead, that they projected on a giant linen sheet.
Yes, that's very reminiscent of when Prince performed.
Yes.
And had his giant guitar dick.
Yes.
Silhouetted during the Super Bowl.
I think it was a way to do it where it wasn't super gross.
No, it was very tasteful.
I kind of still hoped he didn't do it, but the way that they did it was fine.
And I really liked the outside
going
part.
Purple thing.
Yeah, going purple and the Prince
surroundings.
That was very nice. That was very tasteful.
Yeah. Overall, though, kind of meh, especially following last year's Lady Gaga.
I think I put it in that.
This had
meh.
Yeah, this had less going on with it.
Yeah, and that kid at the end,
selfie kid,
just trying to take a selfie with Justin Timberlake.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Super Bowl. Any ads you want to talk about? There wasn't a whole lot of memorable ads this year.
Just a lot of confusing ads that turned out to be Tide ads.
Yeah, Tide's deal was interesting, where they were basically like, let's do trick ads where you think it's an ad for an established company's campaign, and then we trick you with this dude, with this balding white dude.
Oh, no, that's the guy from Stranger Things.
Okay, I wouldn't know.
That's why everyone knows who he is.
And then it turns out, oh wait, it's a Tide ad. I think that's pretty much the dialogue. It's this is actually a Tide ad.
Yeah.
There was one where they did the whole Old Spice guy on the horse.
And the Old Spice guy, they did the Mr. Clean guy.
Mr. Clean dancing thing.
A Pepsi one.
It was weird. Couple. It was weird. But yeah, otherwise, I can't. I'm struggling right now to think of an ad that we were all like, this was good.
There wasn't one. The Peter Dinklage one was fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
The Margaret Freeman
one.
Oh,
Danny DeVito as the M&M was kind of funny.
Yeah.
The red M&M. That was not bad.
It
was kind of short, though. I kind of was hoping they would do a follow-up one to that. Then they didn't.
But Danny DeVito's short anyways.
I don't know. There's probably more, but we're struggling to think about it.
Yeah, not really too many memorable commercials for it. Just it was commercials.
Yeah, they were Super Bowl commercials. Kind of what you expect at this point. But yeah, overall, the game ended up being the cool thing about this year and was the most entertaining. So yeah, if you got to see the game, which I'm sure you did, it was an entertaining game. Yep. Moving on, anything else sports you want to talk about?
Yes.
While we're talking about sports?
Yes, while we're talking about sports, there's huge controversy following the Super Bowl.
Okay.
In terms of coaching.
Oh, I heard about some of this, yeah.
Yes. Between the Patriots and the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
So, because the Patriots were still in NFL season up to the Super Bowl, the coaches, meaning the coaching staff, could not be poached or approached for coaching gigs. However, the Colts had a verbal commitment from offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels. Super Bowl happened Sunday. Tuesday, McDaniels was supposed to be announced as the new head coach.
Right.
They had already the Colts organization had already gone and hired offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, other staff in anticipation on McDaniels' recommendation of who he would want to work with.
Right.
For their coaching.
It was gonna happen.
It was a verbal commitment. Basically, we have the whole coaching staff set up for you to come in and do your thing.
And then it didn't happen.
And then come Monday, he backs out of the deal.
Yeah. That's what I saw.
Yes. The report is that Bill Belichick will retire at the end of next year. And so in order to have a successor, Bob Kraft told McDaniels that if you stay and don't go, we'll give you the head coaching job after Bill Belichick leaves.
Oh.
So McDaniels backs out of the Colts deal and remains the offensive coordinator for the Patriots.
With the giant carrot on the stick, which is the head coach.
Yes.
Which
is
kind
Bill
of
Belichick's
crazy.
successor.
So Bill Belichick, when do you think he's done?
Possibly next year.
Wow. As early as next year?
As early as next year.
Like next season next year or after next season?
I want to say maybe as early as the summer.
Like he could announce before the season starts?
Yeah.
That would be crazy. New England fans would be, I think, a little salty about that if that happened.
I think they may be okay because they didn't win.
Oh, you think it would have been worse? I don't know. I could have seen that going differently if they had won and then he immediately announced he was retiring. That would make sense. Yeah. Like if he said like in the acceptance thing, he'd be like, "Oh, by the way, this will be my last game as coach of the New England Patriots." That would have been the way to go.
Yeah, but I can see him like taking the summer off and thinking about it, talking with his family about
his mansion.
Yes.
That I'm sure he
talking with Tom Brady of how long he wants to play for still.
While people serve them avocado ice cream.
Yes.
In gold bowls. All right. Okay. Anything sports else besides that?
Oh, I know we didn't cover this last week, but Blake Griffin got traded from the Clippers. Their star got traded to the Pistons for some reason. I don't know why, because at the beginning of the season he signed a 5-year deal with the Clippers, and now they let him go.
Oh well, so much for that.
Yeah. Apparently, the rumor is that they're trying to make room for LeBron James.
Yeah.
Trying to make some cap room for him and saying like, hey, you can run this team the way you want with all your kids, or your own team. But we'll see what the Clippers end up doing with that. Other than that, spring training gets reported to at the end of in a couple weeks now. Pitchers get to report to spring training in 2 weeks, I think.
Spring training.
Yep, spring training. Yep, out there in the deserts.
In just deserts.
Yep.
Cool. All right, let's move out of sports then. What else have you?
And one last thing in sports.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
The beginning.
I was going to say this, but yes.
Oh, I was going to go right now.
But yeah, we might as well talk about it now. Tomorrow, it's time to get cold.
Nowhere near close to it.
I don't know what you're trying to do. It sounded more like a Pokemon song.
Sounded like a janky McDonald's theme.
Yeah. It's Olympic time. But yes, it's the Winter Olympics start unofficially tomorrow. The opening ceremonies are not until Friday, but primetime coverage will start tomorrow at 8 on NBC. That's 8 p.m. Pacific, of course.
Yes, they'll start with the preliminary rounds.
Yeah. As a little taster before the actual big deal starts. Of course, that's the opening ceremonies on Friday, so tune in for that. But yes, we will be watching a bunch of Olympics. We'll tell you next week about all the cool Olympic moments in the first week that we were watching. That's we'll be keeping tabs on medals.
Yeah.
And
so look out for some speed skating, some long jumping, some biathlons,
some fun stuff. Curling. This the first time they're allowing men and women to play together.
Co-ed
mixed
curling.
doubles, which is cool. All sorts of curling going on. But yeah, we'll be watching the Olympics for sure. So check that out if you're an Olympic person like we are. What else have you been watching? What's the weekend television been like for you? You have a few things written down here.
Oh, do you want to go to those?
That you watched.
You want to go to that?
Yeah. What kind of stuff have you been watching?
Okay, so let's go to my thoughts then. So Netflix put up a couple of stuff that I've been watching.
All right.
First up being Coach Snoop.
Okay, does this have to do with Snoop Dogg?
Yes.
How does it not have to do
with Snoop Dogg?
It's
called Coach Snoop.
I have to ask. Does this have to do with his son?
No.
No?
This has to deal with the Snoop Dogg Football League.
What is the Snoop Dogg Football League besides exactly what it sounds like?
It's exactly what it sounds like.
Okay, alright.
It's the Snoop Dogg...
So is this like a documentary style thing?
Yes.
Okay.
It's very much in the same vein as Friday Night Tykes and...
Last Chance U.
Last Chance U.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where it follows Snoop Dogg's youth football team, where he's the head coach, and how they play different teams and fight to win the national championship in junior midget football.
Okay.
So, this thing is exactly what you think it is.
Snoop Dogg coaching kids.
Snoop Dogg coaching kids.
Is he
He's not. He's not.
What?
Snoop Dogg is the head coach in name and practice only.
Oh.
But there's a separate coach, Coach K-Mac.
Who actually does like the day-to-day
who
stuff.
actually does the daily practices.
That's disappointing. I mean, I get it. Snoop Dogg has other things to do.
But no, Snoop Dogg shows up to the practices. He shows up to practice, shows up to the games. But he shows up 10 minutes before the game starts. and 5 minutes before practice starts.
To make sure everything's cool. Everything's going well.
Or half an hour after practice starts.
It sounds like he's executive producing this football league.
It kind of is.
Sure. Which, I guess, what did I expect? I guess that's kind of the question is, what did I expect it to be?
Yeah, but the real story in this thing is Coach K-Mac and the players. What I mean by that is how he interacts with the players and how he gets across his teachings, because he treats these kids like they're adults, which means he curses at them, he yells at them, and these are 13, 12, 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
They're kids, and you look at them and they're like, you shouldn't be yelling at them. You shouldn't. They're kids. They don't really know better. It's your job to teach them. But he's out there yelling at them.
Yeah, it's the whole Friday Night Tykes thing again, where it's oh, that guy, he's so mean to the kids. It's tough because you want to be well, he's a coach, but no, you're right. Dude, those kids don't know what's going on. Don't
yeah, but
instill in them a hate of the game. You know?
But at the same time, because a lot of these kids grow up in troubled homes and gang-related environments, that the way he coaches is the only way to get across to the kids, to get them to listen, to get them to obey authority.
Sure.
That you have to, the way he puts, you have to fight toughness with toughness in order to get across to some of these kids. So it's a really interesting take. It's only 8 episodes.
Okay.
So it's short. Each episode's only half hour each. So it's real short. It's real brief. It gets across everything that it wants to get across. and it's a really well done documentary. Definitely check it out, especially if kids in youth sports, because you can show them how the other half was and be like, see, aren't you glad I'm not like that? Like, I could be like that if you want.
It's cautionary tale.
It is.
Alright, what else have you been watching?
Okay. I've been watching, what are there? It's called Greed? Or
Dirty Money?
Yes, Dirty Money.
Might as well be called Creed.
Yeah. So it's called Dirty Money.
So it's Dirty Money.
Dirty Money is an anthology series about the evil corporations that like business dealings that go on, and just like how like evil money is.
Okay.
And people like behind evil money.
Is this about real businesses?
Yes.
And is this documentary style too, or is this fictionalized?
Oh no, this is documentary style.
Okay. Well, that sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, it's each episode is its own package.
It's like a different company every time.
Yeah, and there's 6 episodes. But there's really only 3 that you need to watch.
Okay.
One is about mortgage and loans.
Oh, okay.
About those quick mortgage, like the 500 cash now.
Yeah.
Quicken loans, stuff like that.
Stuff like that, yeah.
So there's that one. Definitely good watch.
Okay.
Definitely learned a lot about that, how people get trapped in these things and how like the language is written and like people take advantage of people in poor situations.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Next one is one about the banks, which is always good.
Kind of like post 2008.
Yeah, post 2008. What have the banks
Bailout.
been doing, and like how they've been still dealing with shady characters and shady loans, but still like taking advantage of people. And the third one, last one, is strictly about Donald Trump and his business dealings.
Interesting.
From the 80s to the early 2000s.
Okay.
Up to, really highlighting Trump Soho and the Taj Mahal in Atlantic City, and several other business dealings that Trump that are like really like in depth, like poor decision making. Also, Trump University is featured in that piece as well. Really, definitely worth a look about like how Trump maintained a level of success without having any money. It's really interesting to look at, and it's definitely like a behind the curtains look at our president. The other 3 you can watch if you want. Kind of like one's about the maples shortage in Canada. I forget what the other 2 are even.
Okay, so yeah, sounds like a kind of.
One was about the auto industry.
Okay.
About clean diesel, how it's a scam.
Yeah.
And I forget what the third one was.
Okay, yeah, sounds cool. For people who are kind of interested in business, like like secret business stuff.
Yeah, and if you just like documentaries in general, this is definitely worth checking out.
That's cool.
Yep.
What else?
Oh, okay. So this is the last thing I saw is technically a movie, but because it's Netflix only, we're putting it here.
Okay.
What is it called?
A Futile and Stupid Gesture?
Yes. So
what is this?
So this is about the creation of the National Lampoon.
Oh, okay. I've heard of this.
From Inception.
Mm-hmm.
Not Inception, but
Conception.
From Conception. Yes, from Conception.
Yes.
To Caddyshack.
Right. Yeah. Like how it started, then into the magazine, and then into the movies that they did.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
It follows one guy. It follows one guy, the main character played by Will Forte.
So this is a fictionalized account.
Yes.
For the most part.
For the most part, it's fictionalized.
But it's based on the real events.
It's based on real events.
Okay.
They get Joe McHale's in it as Chevy Chase.
Okay.
Which is a smart.
It's
a smart choice.
Yeah.
When you watch
My
it,
brain has to make a connection. Yeah, if I watched it, maybe it would be different. My brain is struggling. It's like firing, and it's not finding the connection that it needs. But yeah, okay.
But yeah, it delves into how that the National Lampoon radio show, and then those people ended up going on to
SNL.
make SNL.
Basically, the entire cast of the original series.
Yep. And it's really interesting on just the essence of National Lampoon and how big it became. And it's really an interesting look. And definitely worth check out if you're at all interested in comedy or the comedy genre or like Caddyshack or Animal House or anything of that sort. It's definitely a fascinating look into it, and definitely worth. I put this in a must see.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that sounded interesting. I had heard about it, and I wasn't necessarily sure if it was a dramatization of what happened or if it's a documentary. But it sounds like it's not a documentary.
No, it's a little bit of dramatization. They like at one point they scroll through like all the facts that they had to omit in the film, and like people they had to omit in the film even though they could.
So they have some fun with the structure.
Yeah, they have fun with the structure.
That's good.
Especially the way it is played out.
It's very played.
Yeah, it's very played out. It's very the structure of even like from the setup, like from the opening shot, the setup to where you think it's gonna go, and then it ends up not because most people don't know the story of the creator of National Lampoon. So it's definitely interesting. Definitely worth check. Definitely check it out.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you definitely enjoy it.
Yeah, I was planning on I was planning on watching it at some point. But yeah, what I have been watching, however, the season 2 finale of The Good Place happened.
Was that the finale?
That was the finale.
Oh, okay.
Yet another cliffhanger. So yeah, that season is over. A super strong season for that show. And it leaves you wondering, just like the end of season 1 did, what the hell are they going to do in the next season? Because anything goes now. I don't want to spoil it as much as how badly I want to right now, because if you haven't been watching that show, catch up. I'm sure it's on the NBC app or something, probably the last bunch of episodes. I'm sure it's on Hulu. So check out the road to the ending of the season, because it's insane. And they just keep changing the status quo of that show every episode. It's amazing. Also, you didn't mention this, but speaking of season finales, Hell's Kitchen is over.
Oh, yes.
We have a new winner, Hell's Kitchen. That was it's all right finale.
They tried to trick us with a 3-person finale, but we know better. Ended up being 2.
And I wanted to briefly mention the funniest thing that had happened in a while on Jeopardy! Where the contestants were faced with an entire category about football, and none of them knew anything.
And
Alex Trebek made fun of them.
Oh, he threw tons of shade
the whole time.
at them.
The audience started laughing so hard. The fact that none of them knew anything about football, like anything, at all about football. It was super funny. As for that, I don't think there's anything else of note, so let's move on.
Yeah, we're gonna watch a lot of Olympics coming up.
There'll be a lot of Olympics next week, and I'm sure other things we'll talk about too.
This Is Us, the post-Super Bowl show, was fantastic. Expect that thing to win a lot of awards for that episode.
Oh, cool. Alright, let's move on to television news. First up in television, even though this is kind of movie related. But it's both.
It's both.
Straddles the line. The Annie Awards happened. If you're not familiar with what the Annie Awards are,
they are animations.
They're essentially the Oscars. No, the Oscars for animation, essentially. They're viewed as with the same amount of prestige in the animation community as in the larger film community with the Oscars.
Right.
They're the ones to win if you're in the animation game. And as predicted, the big winner this year was none other than our favorite movie of 2017, Coco.
One movie, Coco.
Coco is the big winner, taking home 11 Annie Awards, including Best Animated Feature, Best Direction, and Writing.
Yep.
Meanwhile, for Independent Animated Feature, The Breadwinner won, which I believe that is nominated for an Academy Award.
It's going up against Coco in Best Picture.
And the first, and this is notable because the first time, this was the first time that a winner in the category had a female director, Nora Twomey.
Yes, that is for the Breadwinner.
The Breadwinner.
That is actually a story about an animated story about a Iranian girl, I think, who lives with both her parents and has to provide for her family.
So yeah, that's awesome. Speaking of things nominated for Academy Awards, Oscar-nominated short Dear Basketball won for Best Short.
Yes, this is based on the letter that Kobe Bryant
I heard
wrote.
about this. Yes.
So Kobe Bryant is actually an executive producer on this thing, and should he win, Kobe Bryant will have won an Academy Award for Best Original Short.
There you go. Could happen.
Yep.
In television
That's
animation.
actually what I'm rooting for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could win. In television animation, Rick and Morty won Best General Audience TV, Broadcast Production, and for Writing. Samurai Jack, the reboot, I guess, picked up 3 awards, including character design, as well as Disney's Mickey Mouse, which won 3 awards itself, which is the redone. I think they're just a collection of shorts. It's not a 30-minute show. It's little like super stylized shorts with Mickey Mouse in them in a modern context. I thought it looked cool, but I didn't really enjoy it when I saw it. A Special Achievement Award was presented to video game company Studio MDHR Entertainment for the game Cuphead. Much deserved.
Oh, yes.
That thing is a living cartoon.
Yes.
It is amazing.
Every frame of that game is hand drawn.
Yeah.
Every animation of that is hand drawn. It definitely
insane.
deserves any award it can get.
Yeah. And another special award was given to veteran voice actor and SpongeBob, Tom Kenny.
Yes. I didn't write this down, but creator Steven Hillenburg also was awarded a special award for SpongeBob.
Very cool. Very cool. He's a good guy.
Apparently he has ALS, I think?
Yes. I recently heard that. It wasn't something he actually told people until like last year, I think.
Yeah.
It was something he kind of kept under wraps. It's one of the reasons why he had left SpongeBob for a period of time before eventually returning. Mm-hmm. He wasn't there for like 3 or 4 seasons, kind of in its mid-period, post the first movie. And then he returned kind of around the time the second movie was in development. And I think has remained on the show since. But I heard that maybe there's a chance that he'll be leaving again. I don't remember. Anyways, but yeah, he had been kind of dealing with that kind of on the low for a while. But yeah, moving on to our next story, and I swear to God, this is an Onion story.
Okay.
I swear to God. Like, I think I saw on Twitter somebody tweet about this, that this is a story from The Onion. That you thought was real.
It got picked up by the local news.
I'm not even gonna read it. I'm not even gonna touch that. I don't think it's real. I don't think it's real, especially that last bit sounds like a freaking sentence that the Onion writer would have written. So I'm not believing any of this. I'm moving on to BattleBots.
Okay.
BattleBots returns again to Discovery and Science channels. So get ready. Robot Sport accepts all covers in a fight to the death. Robot Carnage.
Yeah!
The show recently had a revival on ABC that kind of sucked in 2015 and 2016. We tried to watch it.
Jessica Chobot.
So boring because it was just so little fighting. It was like,
yes.
what did we do? What did we clock it at that one time where we tried skipping through everything that wasn't a robot fight? There was like 10 minutes of content in like an hour and a half show. It was so ridiculous. So here's hoping that Discovery, where it originally was, will treat it better.
Yep.
And that's it for TV news.
That's it.
A real quick one. That moves us into cancellations and renewals.
Yep.
First up, The Gilded Age, which is neither getting canceled or renewed. It is getting picked up. 10 episodes are getting picked up from NBC from this is Downton Abbey creator Julian Fellows.
Yes.
Producing this. The Gilded Age. It will debut in 2019. Next up in pickups, which we need, I guess, a third name for this category. This is how we're going to do it. Demimonde? Demimonde.
Yeah,
let's go with that. Which is a series written created by J.J. Abrams, will be picked up by HBO. So there's that.
Yep.
I don't know what it is. Do you know what this is?
No.
No. Okay, moving on. Next up, renewed series of fortunate events. We already talked about how the second part is coming soon.
Yes, that's coming in March.
Yeah. The third part has also been confirmed and will be next year. And it will be the last portion of Unfortunate Events on Netflix.
Yep. So 3 seasons.
Check that out.
That's it.
And then next up, inexplicably, I don't know how they're going to manage to do this, renewed is 13 Reasons Why.
Yeah.
The Netflix show, which had a conceit that only worked for 12 episodes, is somehow getting renewed for not 2, but 3 seasons.
So someone else is going to have to die.
This is super dark because, there's no way that show works.
No.
What are they doing?
How have they not found all these tapes?
It's bad. And that brings us into deaths, which we only have one death this week. John Mahoney, age 77, actor who has several good parts in movies, but will now probably be most remembered as Frasier's dad in the sitcom Frasier.
Yeah.
A loss in the world of film and in comedy and in character acting. From what I understand, he was a pretty prominent character actor in his day.
Yep.
All right, that gives us out of television.
Let's goes to the Billboard.
And that moves into music, where we start with, listen to anything?
Yes.
Is this where we talk about Man of the Woods?
Oh, I have that at last, because I like these stories.
Okay, besides Man of the Woods, what have you been listening to?
I tried listening to that AWOL Nation.
Tried. I like that.
Tried.
That's probably how far I would have gotten.
I got halfway through it.
Oh, gross. Is it bad?
It's
AWOL Nation?
It's AWOL Nation.
Yeah.
I was hoping they go more rock heavy, but they didn't.
No.
No, so it's just disappointing on that side.
What else? Anything else?
No, not really. Oh, I listened to a lot of that Game of Thrones soundtrack.
Okay.
For some reason, it fits nice with Monster Hunter.
I bet. I bet something super orchestral and moving worked pretty well for that thing.
Yeah, so that works with that.
Okay, now we gotta talk about Man of the Woods.
Okay.
Okay, so before, of course, the halftime show showed us what he can do, in quotes, we both listened to this thing. You heard it before I did. What were your initial thoughts about Man of the Woods?
So I knew this thing was going to be different.
Yeah.
I knew this thing was going to be very different per track, because based on the songs that he was putting out, each song had a different vibe going for it.
Yeah.
And that pretty much rang true once the album came out.
Yeah.
Every song, there was not a whole lot of cohesion between songs.
Yeah.
It was, okay, we're going to try this type of beat. Now we're going to try this type of song. Now we're trying this type of song. Hey, let's get my wife in on this. She can do some stuff. Hey, let's get my kid in on this.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to do some spoken word now. Hey, I'm going to dedicate this song to my family now.
Yeah.
It's kind of all over the place.
It is.
And there's nothing really that makes it an album, but rather a collection.
Yeah, it's weird because we kind of just had that story a couple weeks ago about playlists and where they should be recognized as albums. Yes. You're onto something there. I think this almost plays like a playlist more than an album. It's like Justin Timberlake kind of odds and ends collection of him trying different sounds, trying things, just, singing about what he's into these days, which apparently is being in the woods and being away from celebrity and being with his family.
Yeah, he's definitely picked up the dad vibe.
Yeah, which is what my worry, and that brings in kind of my worry about this era of Justin Timberlake for now in. Is he doing this because he feels like he has to? Like, does he think that because he's getting into, his early 40s now? Yeah. That he has to kind of adapt this middle-aged family man persona? Is it that? Because if you compare it to, people he's worked with directly, like Jay-Z didn't go through that until he was well into his 50s.
Yeah.
Jay-Z didn't start rapping about his kids until Watch the Throne era Jay-Z. Magna Carta Jay-Z. And, I worry that Justin just feels like this is something he's obligated to do now. and it's just thrown his sense of taste out the window. I don't know. It just seems weird.
It's definitely not the classic Justin, and
No.
not the Justin we're looking for.
There are a handful of tracks that are redeemable on this thing.
Yeah.
Whenever he does embrace that kind of funk that made like the good tracks in 2020 Experience and Future Sex Love Sounds, like the stuff that worked, he's still good at. Like the funkier kind of poppier tracks are fun here, but there's not enough of them. And there's it's the goodwill that they have is squandered by plodding ballads about flannel and like literally a song called Flannel, and the super schlocky thing about his kid that ends the album.
Yeah.
And the super awkward Jessica Biel monologues in between tracks. It's just like, who thought this was a good idea? Like, for somebody, I wrote in my write-up on MediaBoatPodcast.com, which you can see right now on our site.
Plugged.
That it seems like that he just, like, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to distinguish the why behind all of this. That's kind of where I'm struggling with most here. I don't know. Anyways, I didn't think it was that great. If you're interested at all in kind of the past, he is still working with Pharrell and he is still working with Timbaland here, but they're just not producing like they used to.
Mm-hmm.
And Supplies is still terrible and it sticks out like a sore thumb on this.
Oh yeah.
It's the song out of a song full of disparate tastes. Like, Supplies does not belong. It's like from a different year, practically. I don't know. Anyways, don't bother unless you really, really need to listen to this thing. But it's definitely a skippable Justin Timberlake album and a depressing window into what his career might become.
Yeah, it's a sad slip because like Justin Timberlake should be able to produce bangers. You would think.
Yeah.
He should produce club hits. He should produce something that
gets
you up and going.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I wrote
something like Happy.
Right.
Or not Happy.
No,
but
that's not him.
No,
I know what you're talking about. Can't Stop the Feeling is kind of more fun. But no, the thing I just remembered that I totally forgot my train of thought about a moment ago is that this is a guy who used to be setting the trends. You know, nothing had come out like Sexy Back when Sexy Back came out, and it mattered. It changed a lot of what other artists were doing at the time. Mm-hmm. He's the guy who's been like up in front about like, this is a new thing that I want to try out. Like, these new producers I want to work with. But this just has him following trends instead of starting them. And not a great look at this point. I don't know. Anyways, let's stop talking about Man in the Woods. I didn't really listen to anything else, though. I did listen to the new album by Anna Birch, which is very, very good. I also, for some reason at work, listened to the entire Dixie Chicks discography again. Still great.
Okay.
Anyways, let's move out of
Billboards.
What we've been thinking about and what we've been watching on the Billboard charts. Your number one song on the Hot 100, your singles list, is still God's Plan by Drake for the second week. Number 2 is still Perfect by Ed Sheeran. Number 3, moving up in the list, Finesse by Bruno Mars and Cardi B.
Okay.
Number 4 is Havana by Camila Cabello. And number 5 is Rockstar by Post Malone and 21 Savage. Billboard 200, you have yet another brand new album.
Is it Man of the Woods?
At number 1.
Did Justin Timberlake get that bump?
No.
Is it available?
It is not. Justin will be eligible next week.
Next week, okay.
Instead of Justin, it is Migos with Culture 2. Topping the charts this week. Number 2 is The Greatest Showman soundtrack, moving down from its 2 weeks at number 1. Common Ground with Above and Beyond is your number 3. Number 4 is 24 Karat Magic by Bruno Mars, getting that Grammys bump.
Yep.
And number 5, Ed Sheeran's Divine. And that's it for the Billboard.
Yep. Coming up.
Moving on to new releases.
We have Brian Fallon with Sleepwalkers.
Okay.
Dashboard Confessionals.
Sure.
with Crooked Shadows. David Duchovny.
David Duchovny?
Yes, that David Duchovny.
Okay.
With Every Third Thought. Franz Ferdinand. Yes, that Franz Ferdinand.
Right, with their comeback album here.
Yes, Always Ascending. We have Fu Manchu.
My favorite mustache.
With Clone of the Universe. We have Holy Motors with Slow Sundown.
This is my pick of the week. I'm really excited. The single that I heard off this thing were good. I'm looking forward to that.
We have a brand new MGMT album.
Weird.
Little Dark Age. We have Sun Lux with Brighter Wounds. And The Wombats with Beautiful People Will Ruin Your Life.
That's just true. That's just a fact.
It's just a fact.
Moving on from new releases into music news. First bit of music news involves our favorite walking Coachella, Lana Del Rey. In the news again.
And unfortunately in the news
again. Not great. On Friday, Orlando police stopped Michael Hunt, age 43, of Florida, who was preparing to kidnap the singer after her show at the Amway Center where she was playing that night. Hunt was in possession of a knife and had posted on social media, which indicated a credible threat, you don't say, leading to his arrest. He wrote several Facebook posts stating his intent to, quote, see my queen on Friday, and from that day forward, our decision will be as one. If that ain't some serial killer shit, I don't know what is. According to the police, he was never able to make it inside the venue or in contact with the singer. They shut it down before it became a thing.
Yes, he had a ticket. He was able to get into the event, but police were able to identify him and stop him.
This is both heartening and creepy about how powerful social media is. It's heartening in the way where you can stop something like this before it happens because social media lets you know. It's creepy because they know everything now.
Well, also people can post stuff like this and they exist in the world.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. This is bad. Apparently, the following night, in the next performance that Lana did, she mentioned it and kind of had like on stage and kind of had like a little bit mini breakdown while she was talking to her fans about it. Yeah, it's a danger. If you're a public person, there's going to be creeps out there who want to take you, and it's super messed up. But thankfully, they got this guy, and nothing, no harm was, faced Lana or anybody in the venue, which was good.
Yep.
All right, moving on
to
what may be one of the most important music stories of the year.
We're already calling it.
We're already calling it. This is happening. This is real.
Yep.
Starting July 1st, Best Buy is saying goodbye to the CD. Yeah. Best Buy will stop selling CDs from all its stores. More than 800 million CDs were sold in the U.S. back in 2001, but that number has since fallen to just 89 million in 2017.
That's a far cry.
Rumor has it that Target is also on board and could be the next retailer to do it, as it was demanding that music suppliers sell their retailer inventory on a consignment basis and pay for unsold inventory instead of the traditional method. Mm-hmm. This is weird, because if this does happen, if two of the biggest music, CD, I should say, retailers in, like, brick and mortar stores stop selling CDs, what does that mean for the CD?
Well, we know that vinyl records have actually been on the rise, and so vinyls have actually, in a way, replaced?
No. I'm going to stop you there.
Okay.
Because there's a big difference. Even though they've been on the rise, you have to consider that a rise from zero is still a rise. There is no comparing, even as CD sales slow down, CD sales to vinyl. CDs still outpace vinyl by millions.
Right.
We're not in a position where they're competitive with each other yet. That's not going to happen ever, because just of how few people actually own and want to care for vinyl records. It's still niche, even though it's becoming less niche, if you get my drift. Okay. CDs are still more mainstream. Most people have a car. Most cars have CD players, etc. It's more common and it's more accessible. So that's not, it's not going to be replaced by vinyl. That's not what's happening. This is instead stores finally facing this streaming revolution. That's what's happening.
Everyone will just go to Walmart for CDs. Problem solved.
That's true. The one thing here that isn't kind of in the story is that, yes, Walmart is the biggest retailer, is bigger than both Target and Best Buy, and will still, presumably, carry CDs. Probably because they probably do pretty well with them. They also have been known in the past to have exclusive versions of CDs.
Well, also is Target.
And yes, Target has as well.
They did with the Taylor Swift album.
But what I'm saying is that they may be making deals lucrative enough to kind of offset some of that loss.
Right.
So yeah, I think that Walmart is kind of the question mark here. Also, Amazon. Online sales might keep CDs alive as well. That's something to keep in mind here. So really the question is that will this make an impact enough in the format to kill it? Because this is the kind of thing that in the past has killed a format.
Well, let's put it this way. When's the last time you bought a CD?
The last time I bought a CD was as a gift for my father 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Okay.
So it's recent enough. But yeah, the last time I bought a CD for myself, that's a harder question. That was probably like 2012.
Right.
2012.
When was the last time you listened to a news album?
Yesterday.
How'd you do that?
Spotify.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is that this is not about vinyl taking its place or anything taking its place. This is about stores realizing they can't compete with streaming.
Right.
That's what's happening here. Target and Best Buy just ran the numbers, and they're not selling enough of these things to warrant the huge space that they take up on their store floors, especially Best Buy. The CD section at Best Buy is enormous. They're probably thinking,
what if the entire middle section of Best Buy,
and then all they're thinking is probably how can we fill this in with stuff that actually moves?
Mm-hmm.
Like how can we fill this in with Blu-rays? How can we fill this in with video games? How can we fill this in with like the Apple HomePod and Google Home and stuff like that? That's what they're doing, because it's stuff that's these service-based things that are going to replace these physical media things.
Right. Well, even Amazon has its own Amazon Music that you can use with Alexa.
Yeah. Amazon was smart. They kind of got into multiple things, but that's because they're an internet company, whereas it's harder for something like Best Buy and Target to have a brick-and-mortar store to have some sort of streaming entity without having to collaborate with an existing streaming company. So yeah, this is a really interesting story because this is what may be the earliest writing on the wall you see for CD, which would be crazy because of how long CD has existed as a format.
Yeah.
We're talking about early 1980s this thing was introduced, and it's still a pretty viable format. So yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting story, but we won't see how it necessarily plays out until probably later in the year.
Well, we'll see. We'll definitely see it happening in July.
Yeah.
When they actually get rid of everything.
Best Buy turns the key there.
Yep.
But speaking of Spotify and streaming, we have a Spotify feature.
Yep.
Which is great, actually. This is I saw a record label that I follow on Twitter point this out to me, and I was like, this is really, really cool.
Yeah.
Spotify is announcing a new feature for its desktop site, the desktop version of running Spotify, showing production and songwriting credits for each track, which is something that was traditionally not shown. The company aims to, quote, increase songwriter and producer visibility and, in turn, foster discovery among new collaborators, industry partners, and fans. Also, apparently the kind of side note to this is that if you go scroll down to the very, very bottom where there's credit given to the record label, you can also click on that and find all releases by that label, which is great for indie labels.
Yeah.
This is all great news. It's basically crediting people who should be acknowledged for being the music that you're listening to on streaming.
Right. Now, don't be mistaken, they're still in the lawsuit with songwriters to get paid more.
This has nothing to do with money.
Yes.
We should be clear here.
But this is definitely a good step in the right direction for Spotify in rectifying anything like that.
Yeah.
All right.
And with that moves us out of music.
Yeah.
Back to we're into video games now. I haven't been able to play any Monster Hunter since last week. Did you jump back into some?
I played
Monhun.
I've played one day.
Yeah.
of Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Since when I listened to my Game of Thrones soundtrack.
Yes. Anything cool?
No, it's very repetitive.
Yeah.
And that was my fear going into deeper into this game.
That it was
and
it's
still and that's currently still my my trouble with the game is that it's just here's a new monster, find a way to take it down.
Yeah.
And you can either use light weapons to take a while, or you can use heavy weapons and try and outlast it by taking heavy shots, but you can also take heavy damage.
Right. So it's kind of like you know what you're getting into at this point, and it's just kind of samey.
Yes. There hasn't really been anything new in terms of story for me.
Yeah.
It's just been a lot of, hey, we have this new area with new monsters. Help us out in clearing out and getting research for them.
Yeah. Which is kind of what I understand Monster Hunter to be. That's kind of the game. So, okay. So, how much longer do you think you'll want to play around with it?
I don't even think I'm going to finish the game.
You're just kind of growing out of it?
Yeah, I mean, I could see people who would be interested in hunting everything.
Right.
There's just not enough in the game for me to be attached to. Now, if it was, hey, take this game style and level it up, then I would be more inclined to fight everything with the different fighting styles.
You want to play this game with an XP meter.
Yeah,
it sounds like
basically.
You want a carrot on the stick.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, I kind of want carrot on the stick. You're right.
They're delicious. I love carrots.
I know.
The stick, not so much. All right. Yeah. So I haven't been playing any of that. So let's just move straight into new releases. The upcoming releases this week. Some of these will sound familiar because they've come out on other systems already.
Yep.
First up, the 7 Deadly Sins: Knights of Britannia. That's going to be on your PC. Aegis Defenders.
No, that's PlayStation.
P means PlayStation?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a PS4 game. I apologize.
I don't do PC releases.
Aegis of Defenders?
Yeah, Aegis Defenders.
Also on PS4. Under Night In Birth EXE latest.
You're welcome.
This is another amazingly named Japanese game.
It's actually called LAT parentheses EST.
Sure. Yes. Bleed 2 for Xbox One. That's the sequel to Bleed, I'm guessing. Quantic Pinball for Xbox One. The Switch version of Disc Jam. Yeah, so Switch players will get to play some Disc Jam. Aperion Cyberstorm for Switch. And Dragon Quest Builders finally comes out for Switch.
Yep.
That got some pretty good buzz on the other console versions. That's apparently a pretty good game.
Alright. So, let's get into the news. And something I'm really excited about.
Video game news. First up is that time again for fighting game fans. It's EVO 2018. The fighting game lineup has been announced.
Yes.
So if you're wondering what the big games will be this year at EVO, here they are. Tekken 7, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, Street Fighter Arcade Edition, that'd be the newest release of 5.
Yes, Street Fighter 5.
Yeah. BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle.
Yeah. Which actually got a recent update including all characters for Ruby.
Yeah. Guilty Gear 2, which actually is Guilty Gear Xrd 2.
Yes.
Not to be confused with the actual Guilty Gear 2.
I'm glad you're able to decipher that.
Injustice 2.
Yes, the new Injustice. I think they had Injustice 2 last year as well. Because that was the new game that
like a pre-release kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Super Smash Bros. Melee, of course.
It's a classic.
And lastly, the one people are most excited to see.
And the one I'm excited to.
Dragon Ball Fighters.
Fighter Z, come on.
Actually, according to... I heard this recently. According to the developer, the pronunciation is Dragon Ball Fighters.
Oh.
The Z is attached to the end of Fighters, but it's not pronounced.
Well,
Dragon Ball Fighters. The argument is that because it's not just about Dragon Ball Z.
I know.
It encompasses storylines and characters from the entire Dragon Ball series.
Yeah.
Like all of them. So to call it Dragon Ball Fighter Z implies it's a tie into Z, which it is not. That's why.
I know. It's its own story mode.
So yeah, those are your games. So yeah, it'll be cool to watch some of that.
Yeah, people are very excited for a Dragon Ball game to finally be featured.
It's kind of the current hotness right now in the fighting scene.
It actually took out the Capcom game, Capcom vs. Marvel Infinite.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be in its place, but people are dropping off that game apparently.
Has easily eclipsed Marvel vs. Capcom in the kind of this fighting game zeitgeist, so I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah. Considering this game only came out last month and how the big rally behind it is surprisingly and yet welcome.
Yeah. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Definitely gets on that big stage.
To some not so cool news for fighting game developer Capcom. Capcom.
Speaking of Capcom.
That's what I said. Some not so great news for fighting game developer Capcom. They have unfortunately laid off a significant number of staff in their Vancouver office as part of a shift that saw the company cancel an unannounced project and cut the scope on the next planned Dead Rising game. Around 50 people were laid off as part of this reorganization, aimed to streamline the company and wrangle the next game. The restructuring has impacted 30% of the studios. No word on what that mystery game is.
No. But this is a company of 250 people.
Yeah.
So laying off 50 people is...
It's a sizable chunk.
It's a sizable chunk, but at least, they still have 200 people still working on the games. So there shouldn't be any foreseeable delays.
The other kind of interesting part about the story is, of course, that this confirms the existence of a fifth Dead Rising game. Yes. Fifth. I recently was reminded that Dead Rising 4 exists. And so, there are 4 of those, so this will be a 5th game. I can't imagine what they do with that series from here on out. We'll see.
I think there was a brief, art for it that showed a mech suit.
Oh, jeez. But if this story is accurate, that means that there's potential...
According to my sources.
Yes, according to sources. If the story is accurate, then that implies that maybe it won't be as large of a project as it may have been. So we may be looking at maybe a lower budget Dead Rising game.
Maybe more reeled in, but that still leaves the door open for Season Pass's DLC.
Oh God, yeah, who knows? But interesting. Capcom doesn't make a whole lot of games anymore, so this is kind of worrying news.
Well, not only that, but this Vancouver studio was also in charge of their mobile game division as well. So they're reeling that in too.
Got it. That's how things are going. Speaking of mobile games, segue. Thank you for that. Nintendo has announced their next mobile endeavor. This actually happened right before we recorded last week, but I didn't bring it up because it was a Twitter post.
Yeah.
And that's all we knew. Well, turns out that's still all we know, but might as well talk about it now. Yeah. The next Nintendo mobile game will be Mario Kart.
Yes.
Mario Kart Tour will be the next one. It follows, of course, Super Mario Run and Animal Crossing Pocket Camp in the Nintendo... We skipped Miitomo here. In the Nintendo mobile
recently
game
dead.
releases.
Recently died.
He did. Don't expect it anytime soon, though, because they've given a huge window for this thing. It says by end of fiscal year, which means that it could be as late as March of next year.
Yeah. So we're not even in March of this year yet.
So don't get too excited for this right away. But chances are this will probably be a simplified, probably motion-oriented handheld phone Mario Kart game. Yes. I would guess probably some tracks brought over from the console games. Probably only a handful of characters. Probably 8 DLC power-ups, or to spend a thing to get a special boost, coin boost or something. And probably some online elements where you race against your friends.
Yeah, that's what I'm more looking forward to, is just racing against friends.
Yeah, it could be a little fun distraction. It might be the most gamey of the Nintendo mobile games so far, which would be cool.
Yeah.
But then again, that's also what we said about Animal Crossing, so at this point, all bets are off when it comes to Nintendo mobile games. Moving on.
Yeah, we said, there's nothing, a whole lot of information came out about this. It's just, we're announcing it. It's going to happen. It exists. So look forward to it.
Kind of upset that they still haven't done the thing that they really should do. The one that I'm waiting for. Give me a mobile WarioWare. That's all I want. Bring back WarioWare. In fact, just bring back WarioWare. It doesn't have to be a mobile game. Bring back WarioWare any way that you can, please. All right. Last story. Utomic.
Yes.
So tell me, Atomic. Utomic, prepare for another unlimited PC gaming platform based on a monthly subscription service.
Yeah.
Are you ready? This is exactly what it sounds like. It's a streaming platform for games. Monthly subscription, you know the drill. A weekly growing library of 700 plus hand-picked games from a varied collection of AAA classics, retro, indie, and family-friendly titles. Start your 2-week free trial. Just pay $8.99 a month or cancel anytime. I'm sorry, but 2007 called and they want their Game Tap back. Do you have anything that you know about this thing?
Yes, you can get a family version of this for $10.99.
Oh, good.
Where you and up to 3 other family members can have each one account. But yeah.
This thing has will have the same problem as most of these services have had in the past, which is you gotta have games that people care about.
Yes, and a lot of these AAA games they have are 5 to 7 years old.
And Steam just dominates the PC marketplace so much that I don't know who this is for.
Right.
Like, is this for a person who doesn't buy things on Steam? I guess. Who is that person, though?
Well, the thing is that this platform is streaming only. There's no download.
Yeah, it's streaming.
And that's their gimmick. Because it's streaming, there's no need to waste any hard drive space.
Or having to worry about whether your graphics card can handle it.
Yes.
This would be basically playing a graphics-intensive game, in theory, on your browser.
Right.
Which, there's that. So, it appeals to probably a super small segment of the PC gaming audience. But chances are, though, if you care at all about PC games...
Or just gaming in general.
You care, and that means that you invest in it. Like, this is such a weird thing, and it didn't work before. I don't see why it would work now.
Yeah.
Especially with less money into it. The thing with GameTap 10 years ago was that they had a bunch of developers on board. And they were trying to make it a big deal by having exclusive content. Weird trivia fact, before Telltale games ended up being the Telltale games that they became after The Walking Dead, their first episodic series, which was based on the Sam and Max games, was exclusive to GameTap for the first season. And was done as a marketing thing. And here we are, years later.
Alright. So let's wrap this up then.
So that's it for video games, and that means that's it.
That's it for us.
The podcast.
Yep. So let's plug everything.
If you want to see more of our opinions on things, news stories, and features going up most of the week, including box office numbers and new releases every Friday, you can see all of that on MediaBoatPodcast.com. That's MediaBoatPodcast.com. Check that out. If you want to watch us live on this very podcast, we do it every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, except for next week. We will be off next week for Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day is Wednesday next week.
But generally speaking, we do our live streaming on YouTube. Just search Media Boat Podcast on there, and you'll find our channel. Subscribe, and you'll see when we go live. Next up, if you want to hear the audio version of our podcast, we are proudly hosted by Podbean. Thank you, Podbean.
Yep, thank you for taking our money and hosting us.
Yep, we're on Apple Podcasts. If you search Media Boat Podcast, you'll find us. Please like us there and leave some comments. We would like some feedback. Anyone?
Bueller.
And whatever podcast catcher you have, you can insert our RSS feed on there and get us anywhere. You can also find us on social media. We're on Twitter at MediaBoatCast. Yes, that's correct. At MediaBoatCast. On Facebook, just search Media Boat Podcast. You'll find our page, like our page, and follow our posts there. You can find us on Patreon. If you want to help us out with money, you can donate as little as $1 a month to help make this content even better and become an exclusive patron and access cool things that we'll have to think about once we get patrons. And that will probably
that's it.
do it. We're on Twitch.tv. That's right, when we stream video games.
Yep.
So look forward. We should probably do one last round of Monster Hunter and stream it.
Yeah, probably will.
So look forward to that. We'll do one last Monster Hunter before we probably turn that in for something else. Maybe Dragon Ball. I don't know.
All right.
It's slow right now. We might as well try that thing.
Yep.
And yeah,
right.
so in the meantime, we'll see you guys next week.
Okay, bye.
Boy.
And Dr. tuned in real quick, but yep, we've been doing it live. Okay, thank you for tuning in. Check us
guys
next week.
Bye.